AI is going to shape the world that we're living in and the world that our kids grow up in. So why not give them the tools to be able to shape it themselves? On this week's episode of Cloud Security Office Hours, we were fortunate enough to have Dustin Kirkland, who is the VP of Engineering for ChainGuard, allow his daughters Camille and Corinne to come share with the group on this wonderful event where not on one, but two separate occasions they ethically and responsibly hacked Google and got rewarded for it. The conversation was an inspirational one, and the interview is listed here, but it got me thinking about my own children, Tristan and Layla. How am I enabling them to be able to step into the future responsibly and safely through leveraging the use of AI? When it comes to using technology and engaging with AI, as the landscape continues to evolve, there's going to be an important and critical cybersecurity piece to this. So it's important to not just teach your kids how to use prompts, right? But to teach them how to understand what's under the hood. Understanding technology is way more important than just leveraging and using it. So when it comes to whether it's managing screen time or whether it's allowing your kids to really understand and explore different technologies, there's guardrails that we need to set in place. And I'm teaching my kids at an early stage that when it comes to ethical prompt use and understanding what information can you safely input into these tools, right? Understanding the guardrails and how to color between the lines in terms of safely using these tools, there's never been a better time to learn. So what are these guardrails that I'm mentioning when it comes to responsibly teaching your kid? First and foremost, personally identifiable information. Being careful about the information that you're putting into ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever tool it is that you're using. That's a big piece. The next 2 points are kind of tied together. Understanding originality. While being in schools are cracking down on plagiarism and irresponsible use of AI, but I think we need to go a level deeper. Teaching my children to understand the output is going to be oh so important. What do I mean by that? When you know something, you understand it really well. There have been those of us that have used prompts and we've questioned some of the output and the information. So not just assuming that, hey, just because I use this prompt, that this information is accurate, is true, I'm just going to run with it. That's a really important piece. And the last guardrail is balance. AI or any of these tools, they're not babysitters. Oftentimes we struggle with whether if you're going on vacation or if you're working or you're simply too busy and the hustle and bustle of life is kind of taking up your time. There needs to be balance with how much your kids are being exposed to this technology, how much they're being exposed to these different tools. And I don't have the answer to that. I don't have it figured out. It's a work in progress, as we talked about with Dustin and his daughters. So if anyone discovers the key to that, feel free to comment below and let me know, because we're still trying to figure it out in our household. So how are we starting? The first thing that we're doing is having them understand the baseline fundamentals of the tools and the things and the ideas behind AI. What is machine learning, right? What is the difference between ChatGPT and Gemini? What are these tools being built on top of, right? There's a whole host of different simple topics, from prompt engineering to understanding the basics of Gen AI, that you can start with when you're trying to wrap your head around what are the possible use cases. But the use cases are oh so important. This is where the fun is about to start, where I'm going to keep you guys apprised of the journey, right? I've issued the challenge to each of my children. What are you interested in? What's a project that you want to undertake? My daughter's really interested in gaming. My son is on his basketball journey, traveling all over Asia, right? There's a number of different use cases, whether we're using AI to help his vertical jump training program, to help him come up with a diet that supports a very busy athlete. Or my daughter, who's obsessed with Roblox, right? And is obsessed with YouTube, right? How do we responsibly find a way to challenge them and say that, look, we're going to teach you the foundation of this technology, of what it can do and how it works, but you lead the direction of how we're going to apply it and use it. As we continue this journey, I will be sharing our results and what we're learning in real time on how this experiment is going and how our kids are evolving and how we are evolving. But I encourage you to comment below and talk to me in the chat. How are you balancing screen time with your children? How are you implementing AI projects, whether it's for yourself or for your children? And how are you applying these different use cases? This conversation, again, a big shout out to Dustin for bringing his daughters and allowing them to grace us with their oh so cool presence. I encourage you to check out the link and check out the interview. It was a very informal conversation. They were the coolest people on that call, but it was a very inspiring story, and it was a call to action for me. Be sure to follow along as we go on this journey together, and as always, comment below any ideas, subject matter, or thoughts or perspective that you have as you undergo your own journey and we learn this thing together. I will be providing updates and releasing content on this platform and others, but you're going to want to stay tuned and follow along for some other exciting guests where I'm going to be collaborating and sharing perspective about all things AI, cybersecurity, and certain things that we should be thinking about beyond. Until next time.